before we get to our weekly nominations for Wrestler of the Week, those are actually going to come a little bit later.
Can we just wrap this show up a while? This is going way too long for my liking today.
Ryan, just have another roundup, and I think you'll be all right.
That's my last one.
Oh no,
I'm done. You
got to pace them
already.
I'm laying them down.
Man, you need to pace yourself. It's a 2-hour plus show here.
You're gonna get lightheaded now.
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
My God.
There it goes.
It's seeming what is unfortunately seeming to become a almost weekly occurrence here as of late. WWE came to terms yesterday on the releases of Braun Strowman, Alistair Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riot, and Santana Garrett. There had been some rumors of possibly more, but as of now, that is not the case. And we'll talk about maybe some of the potentially bigger picture the coming out of this and the releases that we've seen both in the superstar realm and also the behind the scenes world for the WWE. But I think the one for me, guys, that sticks out the most in terms of these releases has to be Braun Strowman. You know, love him, hate him, think he was overrated, whatever. And we can even get into you know, where all the standing from these superstars were. But I mean, Braun's a guy who, you know, Universal Champion, you know, featured on the Saudi shows, which love or hate those. I mean, they are a big deal financially for the WWE. You know, just wrestled one of the, I mean, some would argue the greatest superstar in the WWE today, WrestleMania this year. And just, I mean, WrestleMania Backlash was, you know, in a title match, and now just a couple weeks later out of the company. So that one was probably the most, and Alistair, obviously, with the reinvent, you know, the relaunching of his character on SmackDown just a couple weeks ago. Definitely the most shocking, but just another grouping in the list of talent releases and employee releases for the WWE here of late.
Yeah, I don't. It's business, I guess. I'm not super surprised whenever I see the future endeavors list come out. I think there's always a couple that are like, oof, wouldn't have got rid of them. But I feel like these always work out pretty okay for the WWE. You know, everybody's like, oh, they're gonna make the WWE pay by terminating him, and he'll go to AEW and be the greatest thing. And he's just the best man. You know, I feel like these things always seem to work out fine for everybody involved. It's wild though that there were so many recent people on this list. I know you spoke directly about Braun. I mean, Mania match against the GOAT of all of times. I'm not going to say it, Jim.
Oh, I'm
you put your hand on your mouse because you thought I was going to say it.
Just in case somebody
I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to do it. Lana wrestled at WrestleMania. Finally got over one table at a time, but by God, she got over. Ruby Riot wrestled at WrestleMania in the tag team turmoil match. Everybody probably should have been fired for being involved in that match. Santana Garrett, I don't think ever, you know, got the chance to really shine with what she had. Buddy Murphy, look at the last year, how much he was involved with the Mysterios and slamming Ray's daughter and being with the church guy, Seth Rollins. And then Alistair just repackaged. I think he just debuted again last Friday, like actually physically showed up and Gonzo. So
for some reason they weren't on at all last week, which seemed odd.
You know what? You can't keep all the shit happening straight in my head because I watch so much wrestling from week to week. It just gets lost in there. So
all right, I'm
that
doing
explains
my job
why I
as
saw it.
the host.
You're doing a good job. Yeah, so it's business, not surprising.
If we're talking about the Alistair Black stuff,
Shane McMahon,
the best in the world.
Sorry.
Shane
I am sorry.
Sure.
I don't
Yep.
think you are.
I don't think you are either.
It slipped right out of my face hole.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Gotta be the cigarettes.
For
I'll
sure.
mute myself. I'm sorry.
You're
It
okay.
is. It's the cigarettes, Ryan. We're all
You're
concerned about.
okay. You're all right.
Nicotine high.
Yeah, I know, right? So much. But in the way of Alistair Black, so Alistair's been streaming on his wife's Twitch channel, just kind of answering questions from his fans, and he was talking pretty candidly about stuff like he has a shirt that's available for pre-order on WWEshop.com right
I saw
now.
people tweeting about that yesterday.
He had new gear made for this run. He has a new theme.
I heard about that.
New theme that they never got to use.
That apparently, as he said, I believe his best yet.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, his original one was a fucking banger.
Well, apparently, the reason why they had to change the theme is because WWE didn't have the rights to it, but he does.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he has that. He has the rights to that theme.
Like that was that band, right? Code Orange, Agent Code something.
I don't think it was it. That's Bray Wyatt's theme.
Agent Orange.
Code Orange.
I thought Code Orange did his NXT theme. Which
I
he
think
brought
they
up with
performed it, but I don't think.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Code Orange. Wasn't Alistair Black in one of those War Game matches in NXT?
War games! War games! War games! War games!
Mark, you know you got to say it backwards, so we don't have a clip for that.
War Games backwards. Game Wars.
War games! War games! War games!
He never performed it when Kyle O'Reilly did.
So I just want everyone to know I've just been an innocent bystander. I've just been sitting here. I've been letting the flow of show traffic move on. But the Joker to my right here on the screen and the one above him are the ones who just want to derail any positive momentum that takes place on the podcast with their sound bites and their Regal touching and their McMahon loving. Good for them. It's all them. You can address all your... I'm just here watching Impact in the background because apparently a former WWE star is debuting tonight, and I want to be able to break news when it happens.
But I'm just trying to break bread with
Sure,
you.
uh-huh. Yep.
Wasn't Bobby Lashley was in TNA, wasn't he?
Bobby!
He was a champion.
That's when they couldn't find him that night when they're getting ready to go live. They sent Mr. Brady out looking for him. They were looking for Bobby.
Bobby!
Where did they ever find Bobby that night?
He was out at the Grand Canyon with the little Indian boy.
Okay, no, we're not gonna do. We're not. Tim, I'm sorry. He's been muted.
It's okay.
Let's
So
get back on track.
yeah, but especially with Braun Strowman, Braun might still be graded on like 2 year ago lens. While he was in the main event picture or in the title hunt as much as WrestleMania Backlash is concerned, his height of powers it's gone. Like when they did not give him the title against Brock, the bloom fell off that rose. Braun was not the same, and they could not capitalize on the Choo Choo Man's powers. And also now with other giants, there's an actual dude almost that is a foot taller than Braun Strowman. What is that gonna do?
Well, and I feel like part of
Who was taller than him?
Shanky almost. Commander Aziz. all bigger and taller than Braun Strowman.
And I mean, kudos to Braun for getting himself in just Jesus God, just getting himself in like absolutely ridiculously good shape, especially given what he was when he first came into WWE. But like, I feel like that was part of the Braun quote unquote mystique, was that he was as big as he was, but he was also still kind of agile. I mean, I've regularly tweeted how much I loved a man the size of Braun Strowman running as quickly as he did. He has been supplanted now by Chris Jericho's butterball ass running like he did in the Stadium Stampede. But you know, after they didn't capitalize on Braun and didn't give him the title back when they probably should have. Yeah, obviously he got the title last year at Mania, partially because of COVID and Roman Reigns going away for a little while. But and Matt, we'll get obviously your thoughts on all of these. But like for me, was Braun Strowman? He whether he won the title when he did or when he should have, but like, was this the shelf life of Braun Strowman? Like when you look back at the Ultimate Warrior's career in the WWE, the initial peak and then decline, and it went away because he wasn't great in the ring. He was what he was. He was a character. Braun was a character. What, you know, did they squeeze all they could out of Braun Strowman?
They stripped away everything that was unique about Braun Strowman. Here's a bodybuilder that came in. The Bray thing happened. Post that, he was like this country strong big character, the everyday man, and then he became like ripped gym guy, and he just blended in on a roster. There was nothing unique about him anymore.
Yeah,
I think that,
and they absolutely missed the boat. The guy was white hot.
Yeah,
white hot. I mean, and I think we look back at multiple missed opportunities with the WWE and say, they really, really fumbled that.
Yeah.
A year and a half before he touched the championship belt, he should have had the championship belt.
Right.
When he was running through jobbers, like he made James Ellsworth, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Boy, that's a tall order.
You know, and I feel like the Saudi Premier Championship or whatever the hell it was, the green title, I feel like that was like their make good that year for not giving him the
wasn't that
title.
for the Greatest Royal Rumble?
Was it? I don't even remember those shows.
I think that's all it was.
You know, but like he was the only one that ever got a championship belt for winning the Greatest Royal, because there's been multiple Greatest Royal Rumbles, I think. Or has there only been one?
There's only been one.
So he's the only one. But again, those shows.
But from that, everybody remembers Titus.
Right. They don't remember him winning in the green title. They remember Titus falling through the apron. So
what championship? Well, I know I'm not even going to say it. What means less? The Blood Money Championship, or like the FTW Championship, or the $1 Million Champion? Like what? They're all make believe championships honestly, that never really were recognized. The Blood
Money one, at least the $1 Million title's been featured in storylines. Could potentially be featured, you know, here in a couple weeks in NXT. Sure. I mean, the FTW title, you at least see it on AEW. Like Braun got that title and we never saw it again. Like why was it even a thing? Matt,
because it was the greatest of the Royal Rumbles.
That's true. Matt, your thoughts on the releases and everything this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we initially talked, none were really super surprising aside from Braun and Alistair. Disappointing, sure. I think that there was a lot left that they could have done with some of the people. People were finally starting to give a shit about Lana. So that, and the Riot Squad never really took off, despite being one of the few like actual women's tag teams in a division that is so desperate to put over their tag team division. Didn't really make sense why they didn't seize that opportunity. But before I get too critical of WWE, let me stop here.
Tap the brakes.
But yeah, I mean, I think with Braun, you know, like you guys said, a lot of missed opportunities there. I think that people were so desperate to see anyone but Roman for that feud that Braun was kind of at his peak right there. I think he's been riding him flipping the ambulance with Roman inside it for a couple years now. And it's just like, that was a huge moment. And then it just went nowhere. And you could say that with a lot of feuds with Braun Strowman throughout his career. I was never a huge Braun fan, but I mean, he certainly won me over because he could do spots like those. He was believable in certain feuds, and they just were like, all right, big guy, go do this, you know, pick things up, put things down type thing. Eventually just became his shtick, and that's not a great shtick to have in the WWE.
I'm not finished with you.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, it sucks. Anytime anybody loses their job, it is horrible, whether it's WWE or anywhere. It's never a fun conversation. It's never anything they want to talk about. But the thing it's kind of, I don't want to say necessarily like revisionist history, but I can't necessarily think of a better way to describe it. Like seeing some of the reactions from people yesterday, like, don't get me wrong, like obviously Braun, it was surprising. Alistair surprising given that they were relaunching him. But like I saw a lot of people like talking about how, you know, like Lana was treated unfairly, like, you know, how they're missing this huge boat, and they did miss the boat with Braun Strowman, but like almost acting as if, you know, Lana was going to be a you know, like WrestleMania main eventer just because like she was released. And like I just, again, I don't ever want to see people lose their job, especially abruptly. But I always find like when Lana's getting a push on Raw, the reaction I see is like, oh my God, why is she getting a push when Naomi's out there and Ruby Riot's out there and Liv Morgan's out there, and you know, there's so many other great women in the WWE. Or when Braun's getting that WrestleMania push, whether it's, you know, last year for the title or this year versus Shane, it's, you know, oh, there's so many people they can use instead of Braun, and then they get released and they're like, oh my gosh, we love them so much. I'm like, did you? I mean, I get there's ebbs and flows in fan bases, but sometimes the reactions to the decisions that WWE makes, and again, never like to see people get released and people lose their job, but sometimes I've found like the day of release reactions interesting.
It's also along the same lines of, if you look at those people who were released, unfortunately, WWE already had their replacement, or they're close to same, their player comparison already lined up. Braun's gone. You've got your giant. Buddy Murphy's gone. So you bring up Mansoor.
Right.
Mansoor takes Buddy Murphy's spot. Lana is Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Santana Garrett is Frankie Monet.
Fair.
Ruby Riot is Rhea Ripley. Alternate looking female.
I mean, yeah.
There are player comparisons.
Right, like Ruby was
person.
never booked in that spot, but I see what you're saying.
Correct, but then that means that Ruby Riot's the upgrade.
Right.
Or not Ruby Riot, Rhea Ripley is the upgrade.
Right.
And who am I missing that was not? Oh, Alistair Black.
Alistair Black.
He's the only person who really doesn't have the... Unless Karrion Kross is about to get called up. And then if it's Karrion Kross is less explosive Alistair Black.
Right. Yeah. Did you see Booker T's comments on Alistair Black, by the way?
No, I did not.
Man, he's a bit, I don't know.
He said something along the lines of like, part of the reason why Alistair Black didn't work out in WWE is because he didn't set himself apart enough from the rest of the roster. And I was like,
what a dumb comment.
I'm like, wait, what?
Well, there's a reason why Booker T is still under contract with
Company
WWE and why guys like The Big Show and Mark Henry are seeking greener pastures. Like, obviously, Booker T is going to say something to side with the company line.
Shucky ducky quack quack.
Easy. Easy money. Booker's going to stay on that side, and that's perfectly fine. And to a certain degree, he might be right, because there could be things backstage. But as far as his presentation went,
right, from a fan perspective, I'm hearing the comment, and I'm looking at, and really, I mean, the only anywhere close to comparisons that you can make between Alistair are probably like The Fiend and Bray Wyatt, and like The Undertaker, and that's it.
Right. And
like
even
there's
like,
really nobody else in that wavelength, you know?
And even then, it was the WWE that took away Alistair's cool stuff. It was WWE that took away Alistair's cool stuff. They took away his raise up in the coffin.
Right.
They took that away. They changed his theme, which was super cool and everybody was into.
Added a sound effect, which wasn't necessary.
I was cool. I was cool with the Creek. I was cool with the Creek.
You seem to have just an issue in general with sound effects.
Sound effects, masks. You know,
maybe Braun can have a choo-choo right in the middle of his fucking mat.
See, I don't believe. Not
there's
during
something
the
going on here.
Not during the match, but if it's in the entrance, what does it matter?
Ryan's just not a fan. He's not a fan of that. We're the little birds.
The birds are stupid as shit too. I hate all of those graphics, honestly.
Well, they're gonna probably go away once the Thunderdome's over.
Thank God.
Yeah,
they had them at Mania.
Might hang around. They did some of those.
Did they have the pigeons at Mania?
Yeah, they had the big pirate hanging above like the.
Well, that they've always had that.
That was to fill the upstairs gap where people weren't sitting too, or at least where there was minimal seating. But I think they did like the they did some of the, not as many.
Asuka always gets the masks.
Right, but entrances they've always done the entrance things. Roman always has his thing. Bobby Lashley's got his thing now.
Right.
Asuka's got her thing. Oh my Lord.
Shouldn't have said it.
Well,
go.
It's who he is.
Bobby.
I can't help it. That's his name.
I mean, you're right, and I can't help that. I have to hit the button.
I mean,
you could just say Lashley.
No.
Yeah, you can say it. Say Lashley. We won't hit it.
Well, I don't want to say Lashley.
All right.
His mama named him Roberto, so I'm gonna call him by his short name.
That's fair. That's
Robert.
fair. Did this?
I gotta get the Roberto clip from the Water Bowl.
Roberto.
Did this round of cuts and like the other one or two where we saw some other specifically female wrestlers get cut? Did this effectively kill the tag team division on the main roster?
I mean,
if you look at the SmackDown roster for women right now,
there's 7 women.
It's not many. Tim, you're smart. Name the 7.
Okay, do you have them listed?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm seeing 8 listed.
8.
Sonya Deville is 1.
Okay. So
not active. She was 1. So
this is SmackDown only?
SmackDown. We're looking for the SmackDown 7.
Okay, so that's Natalya, Tamina, Liv Morgan, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, and Carmella.
That is the SmackDown 7.
It is.
Boy,
well done.
Tim's good.
What division?
Well done.
I mean, it's not a bad division.
Not a bad division, but
if you're that's have... 7. And here's.
It's bare bones for sure.
Right.
Tell me what WWE would do if the men's division were 7 wrestlers.
Thank you.
If there were 7 dudes on SmackDown, Which
There's
I'm not
apparently only
saying
7 dudes on Raw.
I'm not saying there's 7 dudes that are worth a damn on SmackDown. I'm saying 7 total dudes on SmackDown.
They would have Raw.
They would have nothing. They wouldn't even have an indie show.
They would have Raw pulling in their 1.1 whatever the fuck rating they got this past week.
It is insane. And Raw's probably not much better as far as women go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Is it 10?
11, including Eva Marie.
Okay, so 11 with
10.
3.
Let's name the other 10.
Okay, let me see if I can. There's Charlotte, Rhea, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Naomi.
And that's the Raw 10.
There it is.
But then, if Raw
and then you
had
got Alexa
10,
not wrestling.
yeah,
Right, she's not wrestling.
and if
And someone has to
Cross
be
is
in
doing
tag
women's
matches
challenges.
because you have to have tag matches. And Nikki Cross is banging out 2-minute matches.
It's
and gets,
How did the AEW women's division become the better division? How did this happen?
well, I think
because
the
NXT still
division's better.
exists.
I mean,
But-
NXT is better, but
But also, NXT's women's division right now, and this is embarrassing, I can't tell you who the NXT women's champion is right now.
Yeah, you
I
can.
just, I literally
Definitely
just,
can.
I just thought about it.
yeah, it's
Saying
it's Lady Diesel.
saying it, like saying I didn't know jogged my memory. But it wasn't to the front. It wasn't to the front of my head, considering
Can you name
she's on the
5
screen.
women? Can you name 5 women in NXT right now?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
easy.
Okay.
Now-
so you just drew a blank on the champion.
Yes, I drew a blank on the champion because I'm like, who is it? Now it's kind of embarrassing because she's literally on the screen, and like I built the graphic.
It's okay. It happens.
Made a mistake, Tim. It's okay.
It's okay. But even then, there's a lot of women in NXT, but who's being focused? What is what? So much so that like the women's champion doesn't really have a dance partner right now, does she?
EO as a rematch.
Isn't she facing Mercedes at?
Yeah,
In
she's
your
got
house?
Mercedes. In my
Mercedes,
house.
okay.
In your house?
Yes.
But Mercedes got marked by Tien Sha, right?
She didn't get marked.
Mercedes got the black mark, the
that's
black
right.
X, like she can't drink
Right.
at the club. She
But,
got
like,
the X deal.
That was one of
You
like the
can't
great
drink.
things about the NXT women's division is the fact that you have your title storyline, but you have other things going on, which has probably been one of the biggest indictments of the main rosters. Women's
Who are the
division.
is it the way the tag team champions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Candice and Indy.
And really, outside of them, it's just Shotzi and Ember, right? It's the only other like tag team that worth a damn down there right now.
Wasn't Aaliyah with somebody? Aaliyah was with Vanessa Bourne, then they split up, and then somebody else.
Well, Bourne's gone, right?
Bourne is gone. By the way, watching
Was CrossFit chick and
oh yeah,
Caden
Caden and
Candace
Kate,
Caden,
Mighty Casey.
Casey
Mighty
Covazaro.
Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, watching Impact, jeez, former big cast W. Morrissey looks like $1 bazillion right now. He is cut up. He looks like Test in a different life. He just looks so good
I
right
mean,
now.
it helps
fair.
that like everybody but Moose in that company is about 4'10" too. It helps.
Oh, but he just
Jim,
looks.
you're acting like Sammy
Bruce.
Callahan's not tall.
Wait, when did he get tall? Did he put lifts in his boots? All right. The other thing.
Solomon Crow. I'm sorry, that's the
Yeah,
name you would
Solomon
probably
Crow.
remember.
Solomon
Yeah.
Crow.
the Hacker Man.
The other big hypothesis that's been coming out from a lot of people over the last, especially now the last 24 hours, but I actually had this as a topic before yesterday's releases even happened.
Yeah, we believe
Don't
that.
don't you fucking give me that look.
Yeah.
Don't give me that sass. Because we've seen a lot of cuts on the business side, on the corporate side, on the office side. You know, the selling, you know, the network sell to Peacock. Do you think WWE is positioning themselves for a sale? Not necessarily imminent. I think there's people that think we're going to wake up tomorrow or next week and there's going to be news about the WWE being sold to NBC Universal or Disney or something like that. I think this is more 6 months, a year, 2 years from now when Vince finally is retiring or whatever, that it's just, you know, the company is going to sell. I've seen a lot of people thinking that this is the WWE positioning themselves for that. Do you think that's something they're doing or looking at this point?
I just find it really hard to believe that there's going to come a day when somebody related to a McMahon doesn't own the WWE. Just that seems wild to me. I don't know. How do you even sell it? Is that I don't even know how it works. Like, as a publicly traded company.
See, that's
like who absorbs like the shares of that. Just there's so much to do, and I know it happens all the time. Businesses by business, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm just ignorant to how it happens, but yeah, fuck it. I'll say within the next 3 years.
But then my question then.
All right, 5 years. You changed my mind.
Okay. My question is, if it does go to an NBC or a Disney or something along those lines, how does that even work? Because the only person who can run the WWE is Vince McMahon. If they sell it, who's going to run it? Is it Triple H?
What happens when Vince retires or dies?
See, that's the next question.
He won't die.
Oh, he's going to die.
He's
pretty sure scientifically he's going to die.
Like, I mean, I think we've all kind of assumed, or at least I have, that it would be Triple H or Stephanie and or Shane.
Right, but even then, I don't think Shane could run the company. No offense. His son, Shane, oldest sibling to the McMahon family, Shane.
You know, Shane.
Yes.
Here we go. That's Shane. That's the Shane. And I think it would be more like a team of people. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how.
But
who makes that final call on things? Who's sitting in the daddy chair?
Right.
You know, at Monday Night Raw and at SmackDown and in meetings and
Dick Wolf.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he does have a great empire of shows, so maybe
he sure does.
Maybe he'd bring back Fandango and Breezango as the police sleuths.
But there's so many things that are up in the air about who would go to what to who. Like, what happens with NXT? Does NXT split out from WWE and become its own thing before WWE goes and gets sold?
Man, honestly, if we're looking at a sale, could this be the death of WWE if it gets put in the hands of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing? I don't know, like a WCW Time Warner Media thing, where somebody is just as an executive is like, you know what, we're done with wrestling. It's not as profitable as we think. Their shows are doing like a 1.2, 1.3 in the ratings, and I get ratings don't matter, but here they probably do. It's just, you know what, it's done. We're done with it. And then what happens then? They just fold the WWE, and just like that, is gone?
Because the president... What if the president of NBC Universal changes and the new president doesn't see a place for wrestling? And then they sell the WWE and its entire tape library to Tony Khan for $1 million.
Jim would die.
I'm out.
But isn't that exactly what happened with WCW? Exactly what happened with WCW. Now, the difference is that in 2001, buyouts and things of that nature are a little less expensive. I don't know what AOL purchased Time Warner for. I don't remember what that is. I don't know what it would be with inflation. But right now, WWE, let's say, and this was just spitballing from, I was listening to Sean Ross Sapp, who's been a god right now with breaking some of this information. Like, he's doing the Lord's work, as someone would like to say. He is
absolutely my preferred source.
For me, it's Mike Johnson, and then after Mike Johnson, it's Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah, Johnston's solid too.
And then literally everyone else can just, because I feel like if it's not those two, everybody else is breaking one of their news.
Right.
Or Ryan Satin, but he gets stuff directly from WWE. And like he's a low third to me. But Sapp was talking about how, you know, Nick Khan is the guy who was responsible for the Fox deal. Mm-hmm. He's responsible for the Peacock deal. And what if he's trying to get the valuation of the company to a set number? Like, the company's got to be worth X amount of dollars. That means certain people got to get cut to get the number down to the number was 4.5. Now, granted, they've also cut people behind the scenes, but they've cut the live event division like off the books. Digital is practically gone. They're cutting large contracts from people. Because Braun, you have to think, Braun, Ruby, Alistair, at least those three were people who got signed during a time where WWE was in acquisition mode and paying big money to people who nowadays wouldn't get that contract.
Right.
You have to
feel like those days are well behind us now.
Right.
So what you're saying is what's happening on Raw is the process, that it's going to get so bad eventually it's going to be really good, like 7 years down the road.
Trust it.
I mean, sure.
But I don't know enough again, about that. That's more of a mad topic, I think.
Yeah, but again, the process nowadays is such a joke that it's one person that's become the process as opposed to the entirety of the thing.
I think one of the guys, and I think it was Rob on the Mindless Musings podcast, kind of compared it like, and it's along those same lines, Tim, of what Sean Ross Sapp was talking about. Because I think I saw that, at least that part of that on their YouTube show yesterday. Is if you think of like other sports have a salary cap, that's kind of what the WWE is doing here. Is there, you have somebody that's kind of come in and is really kind of taking over the business operation. And they're looking at, dollars and charts and graphs and all sorts of bottom lines that are well beyond my pay grade. And they're going, okay, we got to get here. Is this, is so-and-so expendable? Is this division expendable? Is, what can we get rid of to get to this point? And it happens.
Yeah, let's get Santana Garrett off the books. That'll save the money.
But also, Santana Garrett was probably on a bigger deal than she was worth to WWE.
Santana Garrett was a big name on the indies, so they probably did give her a bigger contract than what we're assuming.
And I think if memory serves, she's been signed since like AEW's come onto the scene, I believe. So her signing was probably, let's keep her away from AEW, because that those signings happened.
Yeah,
there's no pretending that they didn't. Those signings happen.
The difference, though, Jim, between another, like a sports franchise trying to get under the salary cap, and what WWE is doing is that if a team doesn't get under the salary cap, they have to pay a luxury tax.
Well, right.
And that's imposed by the league. WWE doesn't have a luxury tax.
No. But they have people running the corporate side of the business that are trying to hit a certain number.
Right. Now that's for certain. But I think if you have to think that selling is a play and is probably Vince's last play. But I think the only people who are seriously worried about WWE being sold are the fans.
Yeah,
because we just want to know what's like. We want to know what everyone else would want to know way before it happens.
And
like
fans are looking,
about what's going to happen.
Fans are looking at it too from an emotional standpoint of, I love Alistair Black, they just released him, and I love Ruby Riott on the Indies, and they just released her, and Santana Garrett is really good in the Indies, and I just released her, and they just released a bunch of people. So there has to be a reason here. So I think it's just because most people don't work in corporate America to the level of understanding maybe what the WWE is trying to do. There's not a lot of people that are on the level of truly understanding, because I sure as shit don't, the ins and outs of what makes, a company of that size specifically, tick and keep going and year after year. I mean, we're seeing it, unfortunately, in mid-level companies and small companies and family businesses and local restaurants and things. It's happening across the board because of the pandemic. I'm not blaming the pandemic on this with WWE. This is what happens in corporate America when things are fantastic. But every company has to make a choice. At some point, there's a number we want to hit. We got to hit that mark. And that's kind of what's happening with WWE. I don't personally think the WWE is going to sell at least anytime soon. Even if Vince retires or worse, I do. I think there's probably a degree of there's a plan for what's going to happen if and when that day comes. And I think it's Triple H, and I think it's Stephanie, and I think it's possibly Shane or other people that are already, running NXT or in those high level positions.
If not, though, I mean, the company's big enough to acquire a WWE, have the resources, I think, to put something in place. Like Comcast is going to know what to do with WWE if they purchase. Disney, although unlikely, would probably know what to do with that. I mean, these companies all have like tiers.
Sure.
So I think they'd be fully capable of fixing that, but I agree. I think it eventually just stays within the family.
Well, and also, so here's another thought too, is that like, even if they sell, that doesn't necessarily mean that like the day-to-day operations change.
Right. That was going to be my thought too.
It literally would be WWE's way to scapegoat themselves out of any wrongdoing. Because now any decision that's made, a hiring, a firing, a booking decision, things along those lines, right now the buck stops at Vince. If Vince sells, it's NBC Universal's problem. Peacock sucks. Peacock sucks. It's not WWE's fault. It's NBC Universal's fault. Raw sucks. It's not Vince's fault. It's it's NBC Universal's fault.
Sure.
Or Comcast's fault.
Well, and I mean that's why we've seen various head writers of Raw get fired, because I mean, yes, Vince makes the final call, but he can pass the blame onto the writer. And it's a little bit different than that scenario. But
let's not just breeze over the fact that this is the cool thing to do, to shit on the WWE when they cut somebody. AEW just recently released Awesome Kong and Shauna from their contracts, and no one said a fucking word.
Yeah, I had that in my news, and that's going to be something to watch over the next, 6-8 months, because this is coming up on that mark of the first AEW signings.
Also, they fill out 2 of their 3 shows with a shitload of indie guys that aren't actually signed,
when they have 100 people that are signed. So like
Are you saying you want more Marco stunt matches, Jim? Is that what you're saying?
I definitely didn't say that.
More Marco stunt.
I definitely did not say that.
I'll mark it down.
Mark it down. But yeah, I just it's, and again, back to the point of the releases and everything. It sucks. People losing jobs suck. And it's not fun. But I think if the releases this week, if they want to continue their career in the wrestling business, I think there's more than enough places for them to do so. So let's go around the room where you think each of them will end up. We'll go rapid fire. Braun Strowman. I honestly think he's going to be back in WWE for less money. Ryan.
I was going to say the same thing.
Intern Mark.
I think he would be a good commentator on AEW.
He's not a Hall. Is he a future Hall of Famer or a current Hall of Famer?
Future Hall of Famer. Now, I don't see Braun going anywhere else other than back in WWE eventually. I don't see him in AEW, independence, anything like that. I think he'll take some time off and be back in WWE.
Tim.
Hollywood.
Oh. Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say he does like the autograph circuit, the convention circuit, and then,
WWE.
Yep.
But I think he's bound for bigger than just TV.
I think so. Devin says NWA. Alistair Black. I think AEW. I really do. I think he's had AEW. Matt.
Yep.
Tim.
Absolutely.
AEW.
Mark.
Yep, he'll be a great fit in AEW.
Ryan.
Want him to lead the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny to heights not seen.
Ooh, I like that. Lana. AEW. She's gonna be right there with Miro. Ryan.
Yep, ballet.
Mark.
Yep, AEW without question.
Tim.
CJ and Miro versus Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford.
There you go, Matt.
Yep, I mean that's the only thing I can see happening there.
Isn't Booker T a big fan of Penelope Ford?
Penelope Ford. Yep, I love her. She's great. Alistair Black, though, he needs to stand out from the crowd.
Devin has AEW. I think that's for Alistair. Murphy. I think Murphy would be great in like ROH or Impact. Personally, Matt.
Yeah, Impact or nowhere. I don't know. I don't know that he necessarily catches on, honestly. I mean, I don't know that he's a big enough draw. Like, I mean, I don't even think he's like a Zack Ryder.
AEW Dark.
Right. Sharknado 6.
Tim.
New Japan.
Oh, okay. Intern Mark.
I was thinking Impact.
Okay. And Ryan.
Absolutely New Japan. I think we're judging Buddy Murph from his little slice of WWE, but if you did that with Neville and how he fizzled out in 205 Live and what he really became as the Pac character, I think we can see that with Buddy Murph. New Japan, I also believe, is the correct answer.
Wait, never mind. Ruby Riot.
You're a bastard.
No, Pac's the bastard.
Right.
Ruby Riot. I think she could be great pretty much anywhere. But I think she's going to end up in AEW. Ryan.
I think we will see Heidi Lovelace in AEW.
Mark.
So there's some kind of carrying on here. But anyway, now I think eventually AEW, but I could see an Impact or NWA first.
Okay. Tim.
AEW.
Matt.
AEW.
And then finally,
and there's enough name recognition with Heidi, I believe, that she'd do absolutely fine carrying that name into AEW.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And Santana Garrett, I think, honestly, NWA or the Indies. I think she was she was big on the Indies, and I think that's probably her best fit. Matt.
Yeah, either going back to being the indie starlet. I could see Impact. as a possibility as well.
Tim.
Impact.
Mark.
Yep, Impact or NWA.
All right, and Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah, Indies I could see. Is WoW still a thing? Women of Wrestling? She maybe bop over there for
I don't know if it is or not, actually.
a show or two. They brought it back for a little bit. I don't know if it's still.
May not have
She
been
was
a
on
thing
there.
because of the
Maybe Shimmer.
pandemic.
Who the hell knows? Indies.